Welcome to another edition of What the Fuck Happenings. Around here, mostly. You know what's happening. So anyway, computer troubles, but we'll get through it, I think. Manage somehow, one way or another, mostly. Otherwise, I really have no right to complain, right? Except I'm old and tired. But anyway, it's just no point. Just all. So anyway, nothing's really new. Same old crap, really. I don't even think there's anything to comment on much. Old fan, continuing to make great videos by the pool now. Yes, excellent. Anyway, Warbles. I've been watching Warbles on a lot videos. That's how bad things are, right? Just a little this and that stuff, but just nothing incredibly impactful. Let's say it that way. Same old, kind of, mostly. It's an old British thing, but too complicated to even talk about, right? Right. You can sort of do the inevitable future thing, that there's a certain writing on all the walls, about where we're heading, idiocracy. No one looks like they want to do much about any of that civilization thing, in any kind of practical way, except talk about how much everybody's entitled to, which is kind of silly. And what else? The whole bankrupt economy of the haves and the have-nots now, and the fact that workers don't have any value and all these things, and nobody's really dealing with any of this stuff, so it all doesn't matter in a way, because nobody wants to have those conversations in any kind of rational context. In the sense that we have an economy based on something called productivity, and machines are more productive than people. It's just a truth. And what are we going to do about that? We sort of have to do something about it, because people keep making human beings, and unless they're owners, they really don't have a useful function. They're just food for the machine. It's almost like Soylent Green gone a step further. Like, you don't even wait for people to die to make them into potato chips. You might as well just grind them up when they're 15. 10. No point in waiting, because they're not going to make any productive contribution. And you might as well get the value of turning them into a sellable product. Because that's the only thing that has any value. Based on our values. Well, anyway, I didn't mean to make a video about that. Billions and billions of other subjects to deal with. So anyway, on the website there was some little snarkyisms here and there, so I figured I could read a couple of those, deal with them. So anyway, this guy. So I'm guessing you can delete people's comments from this thing too. Yes. If not, what's the fruit? I don't know. Why haven't you enabled deleting comments? It's not something you have to enable. It's something I actually have to write code to do, and I actually did have to write code to do it. It's not my desire to delete comments. It's just that people are so fucking obnoxious that their graffiti is just too ugly to tolerate. Either way, you shouldn't, because it shows you like deleting history. Again, washing graffiti off of walls is not deleting history. You might think so, but I don't think so. It just isn't. And in a sense, me reading this crap is all the dignity it deserves. It doesn't deserve to stay somewhere. It deserves somebody to take a picture of it and put it in the shit that people do pile and leave it at that. But it shouldn't be some permanent reference that just scars and mars the thing created, the comment being made. I mean, where you don't draw any lines at all? I mean, It'd be okay for people to go to museums and write on the paintings, this woman's ass is too fat. You know, that would, somehow you'd see value in that? I don't see any value in that. No matter how lame the comment or thought was, well, there's lots that, I mean, to say that there's no limit to how lame it is, it's just stupid to you. Again, yeah, I'm going to apply some judgment and say when somebody's actually making a comment or a remark that's on the subject, maybe it's worth keeping. But when all it is some sort of crap intended to cause the subject to become defensive, I have to defend myself. You can just say it. When's the last time you beat your wife? Why should I waste any time explaining how it's a baseless accusation just used to change the subject? Yeah, but that's okay. We should waste our time doing that all day, defending ourselves against baseless accusations. Maybe I'm just being a cunt, yes, for the sake of it. Yeah, well, apparently, yes. I'm being a glib asshole as well. Sorry. Well, again, you can say these aren't real concepts or real things in the world, kind of mock them as if they don't mean anything. But this glib thing is really a problem in the world, fuckhead. But anyway, this one was just too stupid also. Why are you against immigration? Question mark. Because it doesn't do anything good. Yes, it's a bad idea to mix incompatible ingredients, so to speak. And that's sort of what it is. It's a bunch of incompatible cultures. Oh yeah, let's swirl them around and see what kind of crap we can make. And it's just going to be crap. Yeah, there has to be a certain rationality to recipes. You want to make something that's edible? Yeah, there's a certain rules you have to follow. And we're not following those rules. And in turn, immigration is just toxic. It's not helpful or constructive. It's just a bad idea. If these people will stay in their poor country, then they will never become intelligent. Well, the margin of intelligence is slight. And that's sort of the crux of the argument, isn't it? If these people were becoming Americans, let's say Americans a 10 on a cultural scale, and that these other countries are 5s on cultural scales. So yes, you would go to America to become a more sophisticated person, like going to Rome in the old days. You'd go to Rome, you become Roman. There was lots of people that feel good about that. They become educated and wunderbar. And but that's not what immigrants do now, right? Immigrants now go to another country just to occupy it. They don't have any interest in becoming Roman. That's a huge difference in terms of any kind of personal embetterment. They're obviously not going to be better people for having gone to another country and become a resident alien. Yeah, not likely. Sorry, it does reload. I guess I could turn the refresh off for the sake of this video. Oh, look at that, it worked. Okay. Become intelligent and they will continue unnecessary reproduction. Yeah, well, theoretically you can't stop that. So this argument that somehow by taking surplus population out of a place that's creating surplus population and moving it somewhere else somehow will leave vacancies in the old country. Well, it doesn't really do that. The vacancies get filled by more people having too many kids. So you've just made the problem, all you've done is you haven't fixed the overpopulation problem in the country that's producing it, and you've taken liability and injected it into a country that doesn't need it. You're not going to make the America go from a 10 to an 11 through immigration. You're going to make America go from a 10 to an 8 by diluting it with 5s. So immigration from poor countries to rich ones helps people to become intelligent, says you. Frankly, like I said, if that's what they were becoming Americans, then we probably wouldn't have an argument. I wouldn't probably have an argument. But they're not. They're saying I'm entitled to file my taxes in Spanish, and I'm entitled to do this, and yeah, that's just bullshit. No, you're not. You don't want to be an American? Then fuck off. Or at least their future generation. Well, again, this is part of the problem, is that some of this separation isn't happening. The next generation is just doing the same thing the first generation did, which is say, I'll just be a resident, not a citizen. This way, immigration helps to reduce the number of population. Well, again, by your logic, I would say that by pure rational understanding, you can say that only a certain number of kids can fit in somebody's shoe. So if you're an old lady in a shoe and you got so many kids you don't know what to do, there's a certain limit to how many you can shove in the shoe. So that stops you from having more, because you're just going to kill them. By having more, because there's no resources. And all you do by moving people out of the shoe, by moving kids out of the shoe and putting them in America, it means that America just wasted money financing a bunch of excess shoe kids that aren't going to be great kids anyway. And now the old lady in the shoe can have more shoe kids. So you're not reducing population in any way. You're just migrating a disease or a sickness from the 5 country to the 10 country, and just saying, let's see if we can ruin the 10 country by injecting a bunch of 5. And look, in the past, immigration worked in most places. Obviously it killed Rome, alright? So Rome is a perfect example. Immigration destroyed Rome. But immigration was very, very good for early America, because there was a lot of America to take advantage of. Lots of space and lots of coal to be mined, and lots of oil to be sucked out of the ground, and lots of railroads to build, and all of that kind of crap. And then in the industrial age, it was the Irish and the Italians, and they had lots of work to do, lots of bridges to build, lots of tall buildings to build. We don't have any of that shit anymore. A human arm isn't worth shit anymore. Okay, labor is shit, especially unskilled labor. It just has 0 value. So it's a different context. It's a different world. And if you don't understand that, you need a different brain, I guess. You need to go to a different school, a better one, in a 10 country. I don't know, what can I say? It just, if you can't understand that advancement requires people to go from a 10 to an 11, it's like, as a culture, you need people to be like 15s. You know what I mean? Because there's going to be, for every person you have who's above a 10, you're going to have somebody below a 10, and they're going to drag the average down. So it's like you need 15ers, to make a country a better place. And we're not getting 15ers from Mexico. We're getting 5ers. Alright. So, you're an idiot. So, LOL house guest, bro, please, Mendy gets his cock sucked and his butt fucked by a pack of rabid sex-deprived negroids. I don't, So this is the kind of graffiti we need, asshole, with the other comment. You need to hear this shit. Some asshole who plays with words like negroid. That, cave Jew. You need that? I don't need it. You're hard pressed for you to tell me that's anything else but bird shit. And all you're saying is we should leave the bird shit on the statues. Just let it pile up till it's thicker than the statue. And I say, fuck you to that. Anyway, some idiot posts this retarded comment. Tommy Sotomayor is a self-hating black. He's a part of the problem. Well, how is this relevant to anything I talk about ever? Who cares? Yeah, I don't. He even got called a racist by the Amazing Atheist. Doesn't even seem like, the argument is about race. The argument is that it's about culture, and from what little I've heard from him, I mean, he obviously doesn't think his people are shit because that they're black, but he thinks black culture is shit. Not exactly a racist, but whatever. Maybe he thinks black women do have fat asses or something. Maybe he has some kind of where he's being a little bit something. But I mean, it's just sort of, some of that shit is just fact. It's not like you're being a racist to say black people have black skin. Yeah, they do. You can, there could be argument about, well, is there a great color? Like purple would be really cool, or maybe lots of other colors would be better than this, whatever this beige thing is, versus the browny thing. Maybe some other colors would be cooler. I like purple. But anyway, I think that's probably enough of that shit. The rest of the comments are just crappy comments. Anyway, Jerry, do you believe you have surpassed Isaac Newton in terms of intellect? Yeah, that one's... People just keep making those kind of accusations as if I care to even have a contest. I don't. I mean, every single argument I make on every single subject I argue it, which means I don't argue from reputation. I don't say, look, I have a 229 IQ or something. Just preposterously brilliant. It just doesn't matter. I mean, generally speaking, the world's best chess players are probably really high on the IQ scale, but they're also really high on the useless fucktard scale. I mean, they have, but look, the point is that I'm not arguing from reputation. I'm not arguing from authority. I'm not saying, like, even if I get a Nobel Prize, I'm not going to sit there and go, look, I have a Nobel Prize, listen to me. Now, I might say it might be advisable to listen, but don't believe anything unless it makes sense. Unless it's you can reason it through yourself. I mean, my whole argument is you don't need a bunch of specialized knowledge to be able to look at the world and figure out what it is now. You don't have to be able to build a telescope to see through a telescope. So that's the huge advantage, right? The real value of the microscope is what you can see with it. But yeah, you don't need to know how to technically make one. So you don't need, you don't need to be, I don't even know, like I said, it just doesn't even matter. Even if I was a brilliant microscope builder, it wouldn't mean that I had some necessarily brilliant understanding of the shit I was looking at through the microscope. You have to take every argument as an individual argument and figure out whether there's reasoning being applied, whether there's a consistency to the argument, whether it rolls. When you roll it, does it roll? Or is it got square edges and shit? And it just isn't going to roll logically in reality. Okay. Yeah. Alright, that's probably enough. It's like people who think, being a vegan solves the problem of suffering in the world, and it's like, I point out that from a biomechanical point of view, it's a marginal victory, because anything we consume is going to require displacements and pain and suffering caused to a bunch of animals dependent on that infrastructure that we have to harvest. You're going to take, so you're giving them something, and then you're going to be taking it away, and that's going to cause them grief and suffering. I mean, so much ways to say this, but I mean, that the real argument is that it's, well, I've said this before, that being a vegan is just a symbol of a protest. It's a protest vote. It's pragmatically, it's kind of meaningless in the scale of the Holocaust that's around us. And so the much more important statement is, don't have kids. Yeah, somebody said that, they asked that question, and it was kind of lame in the comments. Which subject's more important, veganism or antinatalism? Well, antinatalism is like a zillionized. So a zillion to the zillion cube thingy. Yeah, that's how much more important that is than being a vegan. Living a decent life is so much less important than not creating more living things, kind of thing. I mean, the monster is the monster. I don't know how to say this. You can't, you just can't make us. You just can't take the crap that is the game of consumption. You can't make consumption a good game. I guess it's the bottom line. You can only make it less bad. And that being the case, it's always a good not to make one of the bad monsters competing to be less bad. And only a minority of them are actually competing to be less bad, which is even more disgraceful. Most people almost seem to be saying, how big a pig can I be? Let me see. Let's see exactly how. Let's test the water. See if I can actually be the 800-pound gorilla. But whatever. Too many metaphors in there, I think. So anyway, there's enough for this edition. I did notice the Piro didn't have his room last week. Alright, you're saying, okay, he's moving. Got some issues with the step kid thingy. Well, not a step kid, whatever, the borrowed kid in the house. I don't know, the loan out kid. I don't know, this, whatever it is. Then he had some job thing, politics, blah, blah, blah. So he said, okay, maybe some of that shit, so he didn't do last week. That makes sense. I mean, new house, everything. They didn't do a room today either. And I was like, okay, now that's a little... 2 weeks, he doesn't say anything. So I don't know if he's posted comments somewhere. But, that's just kind of... not saying it's rude, but... Well, that's what I am saying, it's rude. I just don't... I imagine if you're going to do something, you do it regularly, then you should say something. And just post a little quick video. 2 minutes, a minute, 30 seconds. Just saying, hey, I got some shit going on. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, when the shit is less shitty. Something, but nothing. It's kind of rude, I think. Yeah. What do I know? Yeah. I think people leaving comments with the word Negroid, cave Jew, Mexican Arab, I think that's rude. So, silly me. Okay. So anyway. I believe that's enough of a video. So I was thinking I might even do a physics room just to do the holiday thing, but I don't know. I'm tired. Maybe I'll do it in the morning. Yeah, I'll try that maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm too tired now. Alright, anyway, until next time. Such.